Good evening and welcome to the 60th Annual Oscar Awards, and also, incidentally, to the biggest crowd in the world. What you're about to see, we are solemnly assured, will be watched in 80 countries by up to 1,500 million people. Now, it could well be that because of the time difference between California and Britain, you already know who the winners are, but I don't. So all I can tell you, as a matter of passing interest, is that according to the local pundits, the favourites going in are The Last Emperor for Best Film, Michael Douglas in Wall Street for Best Actor, Cher in Moonstruck for Best Actress, and Sean Connery gaining his first ever nomination after 30 years of filmmaking for Best Supporting Actor in The Untouchables. Well, in just a moment, you and the cameras will be going in there into the Shrine Auditorium to see whether those pundits are right. But I shan't be joining you. You see, by tradition, the really smart way to watch the Oscars is on TV at a party hosted by the legendary and splendidly named Hollywood agent Swifty Lazar in a restaurant called Spargo just off Sunset Boulevard. That's where the stars will be tonight, or anyway, those stars who haven't been nominated. And so naturally, that's where I shall be too.
This is Mr.
No, I told you about Moore. He's one of our prize packages. Well, he's the one we get Moore first, and on account of Moore, the rest come.
Absolutely. He's the leader of the pack, isn't he?
He's the leader of the pack, not the brat pack, the smart pack.
I'll be around with the drinks in a minute.
Mr. Burns, it's lovely to see you here.
Thank you. Nice to be here. In fact, it's nice to be any place.
Who do you think's going to win tonight, Roger?
Last Emperor.
Yeah.
Obviously.
Yeah.
They tell me that Cher is a shoe-in.
That's what they say, yes, yes.
But there are always surprises, aren't there? Who else is there? Michael Douglas.
Yeah.
And Olympia Dukakis.
Those are your bets.
Yes.
Yeah.
She's a Democrat, isn't she? Is she running for president?
Welcome to the 60th Annual Academy Awards. Hollywood gathers tonight to celebrate 60 years and to honor this year's nominees. Here's Mr. Buddy Rogers, who starred in Wings, the first film to win an Academy Award. Liza Minnelli, who will introduce Best Song nominees tonight. A three-time nominee and a winner of the coveted Oscar, Mr. Rod Steiger. And Oscar winner last year with Richard Dean Anderson, Marley Matlin. Here's Mr. James Brooks. Faye Dunaway, the presenter in the foreign language film category. Richard Dreyfuss, former Oscar winner. Former nominations for Johnny Belinda and All Quiet on the Western Front. Here's Mr. Lou Ayres. Lou Gossett, former Oscar winner for his role in An Officer and a Gentleman. Presenter Daryl Hannah, who appeared in Roxanne and Wall Street this year. And macho heartthrob Tom Selleck, who will present the Animated Short Film Award. Here's Eve Marie Sink from On the Waterfront, and Sean Connery, both a nominee and a presenter tonight. Glamorous Jennifer Grey, who starred in Dirty Dancing. A supporting actor candidate for Moonstruck, Mr. Vincent Gardenia. Mr. Michael Douglas, a Best Actor hopeful for Wall Street. The co-producer of Fatal Attraction, beautiful Sherry Lansing. From the accounting firm of Price Waterhouse, who tabulate the balloting and guarantee the secrecy and integrity of the results, Mr. Frank Johnson and Mr. Dan Lyle. And Best Supporting Actress nominee for Throw Mama from the Frame, Anne Ramsey. Gorgeous Candy Bergen with Louis Malle, who's a double nominee this evening. A presenter in the cinematography category, dashing Mel Gibson. A star of The Last Emperor, and the presenter tonight, John Lone. Nominated as Best Supporting Actress, Ms. Anne Archer. For his directing efforts in Moonstruck, nominee Norman Jewison. Two-time Oscar winner Jack Lemmon.
Don't let all these famous, beautiful people with elegant clothes and limousines looking so cool fool you. Because underneath this is a pretty nervous group with only one thing in their minds. You know why? Because they are the actors, writers, producers, directors, and technicians who made the pictures we're going to honor tonight, and now find themselves as Oscar nominees.
To the 60th anniversary of the Academy Awards. You distinguished men and women who have been nominated for an Academy Award this year have moved us, thrilled us, brought us laughter and tears, and we are grateful to you for the pleasure of your achievements. God, I hope you all can get it. Now, ladies and gentlemen, here is someone who's also moved us, thrilled us, brought us laughter and tears, but never got a nomination for it. Instead, last year, we dropped him through a trap door, almost had him eaten by a plant. My favorite master of ceremonies, the handsome, talented, and only slightly bruised Mr. Chevy Chase.
Good evening, Hollywood phonies. Welcome to Tinseltown, the Athens of the West. I can't think of a year in motion pictures with more quality performances or more critically acclaimed films. It's a real horse race in 1988. And most of the nominated stars are here, which is very unusual. The women are beautiful, and many of the men have showered. Glenn Close is here. Glenn Close is here with our obstetrician, just in case anything out of the ordinary pops up. And I have it on good authority that Cher will be, in fact, dressed. She apparently has decided against the simple but elegant wardrobe of just the dress shields and odor eaters and is going for the full body covering. Two of my favorite comedians, Albert Brooks and Robin Williams, are up for acting awards. It's always a good sign for the comedy community. And now, quite seriously, a word about the rules. All eligible Academy members are asked to vote for nominations for Best Picture. Other nominations are voted by members who are specialists in each field. Results of the secret voting are known only to the independent accounting firm of Price Waterhouse. Girls in the office, Nancy, Catherine, Marty, all of them. Of course, myself and Janie, my wife, and kids, a couple of friends. The ballots will then be tabulated, and the winners will be chosen honestly and according to the following criteria. If you're old and you haven't won one yet. If you're relatively young or too funny and your name begins with Steve or Steven, you are ineligible. If you live in the neighborhood and your movie's up for Best Picture, you cannot be nominated for Best Director. If you make fitness videos or commercials for fitness centers, you are eligible. Beards are out, and of course, this simply will not do. Thank you very much. To start our show tonight, we're going to give you an exciting look at how far we've come in visual effects since George Méliès's trip to the moon in 1902.
The name is Connery, Sean Connery. We all know that actors can part the Red Sea and tear down temples with our bare hands, move bridges, and even push back earthquakes. But we'd all be nothing without the help of the men and women with the real power, the creators of special visual effects. And the nominees for achievement in that field are
Predator, Joel Hinnick, Robert M. Greenberg, Richard Greenberg, and Stan Winston. Inner Space, Dennis Muren, William George, Harley Jessup, and Kenneth Smith. And the winner are Dennis Muren, William George, Harley Jessup, and Kenneth Smith for Inner Space.
This is a big thrill. We really like to thank the Academy, Joe Donnie for doing his great direction, Mike Fennell, of course, Steven Spielberg.
Well, thank you. I'm very flattered. I never really expected to get that kind of reaction to my tales here.
I don't want to have to hit you, Nicky. Snap out of it, okay?
All right, okay. You know, we're here to present the award for the best performance by an actor in a supporting role.
And the nominees are?
He personifies everything that you've been fighting against. How do you like that? I buried the lead.
Albert Brooks in Broadcast News.
You look a little paler than usual, boy.
You play rough.
Well, it ain't all basketball and dishwashers out here. Move it out, Reg.
Morgan Freeman, Street Smart.
Here's how you get him. He pulls a knife, you pull a gun. He sends one of yours to the hospital, you send one of his to the morgue. That's the Chicago way. And that's how you get Capone.
Sean Connery in The Untouchables.
To say that we can all build a South Africa worth living in. A South Africa for equals. Black or white. A South Africa as beautiful as this land is.
Denzel Washington in Cry Freedom.
Mother and I were married 52 years. Nobody died. You were married, what, 2 years? Somebody's dead. Don't get married again, Loretta. It don't work out for you. Who's the man?
Johnny Camerari.
Johnny Camerari. He's a big baby.
Vincent Gardenia, Moonstruck.
And the winner is...
Sean Connery in The Untouchables.
Good evening. Ladies and gentlemen, friends, and a few enemies. I don't think there's anyone aware, or unaware rather, in Hollywood or the rest of the world tonight that this is the 60th anniversary of these Academy Awards. And I just realized myself the other day that my first one and only attendance was 30 years ago. Patience truly is a virtue. But in winning this award, it creates a certain dilemma because I had decided, if I'd had the good fortune to win, that I would give it to my wife, who deserves it. But This evening I discovered backstage that they're worth $15,000. And now I'm not so sure. Sherry, I'm only kidding. It's yours. But if such a thing as a wish accompanied this award, mine would be that we ended the writer's strike. And I thank you all sincerely.
And now, the Best Supporting Actor of 1986 and the Best Supporting Actor of 1987, Academy Award winners Michael Caine and Sean Connery.
Isn't this incredible, Sean? 30 years after we first met, here we are at the Oscars together. I'm trying to remember what I was doing at the time. I remember I was in Harold Pinter's first play at the Royal Court. What were you doing?
I was still at school.
No, you weren't. I remember what you were doing. You know what he was doing? He was in the chorus of South Pacific. It's true, right? By the way, I loved your speech last year when you got this award.
I loved yours too, Michael.
Did you? I didn't make one, Sean. I wasn't here. I was working. And ladies and gentlemen, I would like to take this opportunity to make that speech now. I would like to thank the Academy, of course. Thank you very much. And I would like to thank Woody Allen, my beautiful wife, Shakira, my lovely daughter, Natasha, and I'd like to speak, Swifty Lazar.
I'm not on this list. I don't understand it.
What's your name?
My name is Bond.
Bond? He's Bond?
Oh.
Wait a minute, hey! Hey!
It's David Putnam.
It's David Putnam, isn't it? I thought they sent you back to England.
No, I used to look like Roger Moore.
You know he looks like Roger Moore with a beard.
And he looks like Sean Connery with a moustache.
He is Sean Connery with a moustache.
You want to know what I was doing 30 years ago?
No, Roger, what were you doing?
I was still trying to grow this beard.
Were you? Boom, boom.
Shall we get on with it?
Yeah. The nominees for the Best Actor in a Supporting Role are...
Alec Guinness in Little Dorrit.
How dare you? Am I to be told by my own son that I have therefore received a treatment not due to a gentleman?
Father.
I point out to you, sir, the delicacy of your father's position. Besides, is it Christian to stigmatize an individual who begs to be excused?
Kevin Kline in A Fish Called Wanda.
Put him up.
I'll make a deal with you. I'll put one up.
Put the other one up.
This looks better. I'm warning you, Otto.
What are you going to do, Archie? Shoot me? Gun me down in cold blood like a dog? Hey! If you want to settle something with me, then why don't you fight me? You're a man, aren't you, Archie? Then let's fight like men. Come on!
Martin Landau in Tucker, the Man and His Dream.
When I was a little kid, maybe 5 years old in a little country, my mother used to say to me, she'd warn me, she'd say, don't get too close to people. You'll catch their dreams. Years later, I realized I misunderstood her. Germs, she said, not dreams. You'll catch their germs.
River Phoenix in Running on Empty.
It's dangerous for you, and it's dangerous for them. I'm sorry, I just couldn't stop myself. You can do what you want to. You can tell your dad anything. I don't care. I just needed you to know. I don't know what I'm doing. And I love you.
Dean Stockwell in Marriage of the Mob.
Angela, you're a very exciting woman. For some crazy reason, I think I'd rather kill myself than hurt you. But suicide's out of the question.
And the Oscar goes to Kevin Kline in A Fish Called Wanda.
There's a lot of Brits here tonight. It's scary. But I have to thank a few of them. This is astonishing. A thank you to Michael Schamberg, the producer of The Fish Called Wanda, who got me together, 6 or 7 years ago with John Cleese, and he said, I want to write a movie where you get run over by a steamroller and eat a lot of Michael Palin's tropical fish. I said, great, sounds good, I'm in, let's do it. And then he actually wrote it. I'd like to thank the Academy for naming me in this group of most distinguished actors, the 5 nominees. I share this with you. I would like to thank John Cleese for writing this brilliant script, for his generosity, for his friendship, to my fellow actors, Michael Palin, Jamie Lee Curtis, to Jonathan Benson, to Charlie Crichton, who at 77 proves that even with 20 or 25 years off, there's no such thing as growing old when you've got a dream. He's the best. Thank you very much for this. And I'd like to thank my wife, Phoebe. Thanks.
The nominees for Best Documentary.
Thank you. There is nothing more difficult and subjective than assembling 5 extraordinarily gifted actors and choosing one of them to receive an Oscar. But we must remember the stated purpose of the founders of the Academy back in 1927. This award was to serve as a constant incentive. So holding that thought, we will remind ourselves of the stunning work done this year by these 5 artists. Gene Hackman for Mississippi Burning.
Smile when the bulldozer ran over the black kid's body. Get here! Get here! Did you smile when the bodies were covered over? Yeah! Get up here. Come on. Get here. Did you smile that same stupid smile? Huh? Did you?
Tom Hanks for Big.
It's called the Dukes. I made this for you. Who are you calling? Ah! I have a birthmark behind my left knee.
You bastard, what did you do to my son?
I am your son, Mom.
Where is my child?
Ma!
Where is my son?
Ma!
Dustin Hoffman for Rain Man.
Read the midnight radio, the Delta, House Delta, Delta Crest, August 2nd, 1985, Lockheed L-1011, Dallas, Fort Worth. Terrible wind chill.
All airlines.
135.
All airlines have crashed at one time or another. That doesn't mean that they are not safe.
Qantas.
Qantas?
Qantas never crashed.
Edward James Olmos for Stand and Deliver.
Did not have Spanish surnames.
and come from barrio schools, you know that. There's something going on here that nobody is talking about. And you know what it is. I know well how to spell discrimination. I thought this was over a long time ago. Are you doing this to my kids? My kids could teach you a thing or two, Johnny.
I'm gonna call security if you can't control yourself, Escalante.
Go for it.
Max von Sydow for Pele the Conqueror.
Så bra är det ju inte. Du tänker inte be om förlåtelse? Va? Nej, det ska du ju inte heller. Fast kanske ändå. Va? Nej.
And the Oscar goes to Dustin Hoffman for Rain Man.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I'm supposed to be jaded by this point. I'm very honored, and I thank the Academy for your support, and I also thank Tom Hanks and Max von Sydow and James Olmos and my good friend Gene Hackman for their wonderful work, even if they didn't vote for me. I didn't vote for you guys either. It's a pleasure to be here with such good work. My father so wanted to be here tonight. Ironically, a few weeks ago, he joined the family of the disabled, and I understand that at the hospital where he's at tonight, that a lot of people that I've met recently are gathered with him with tuxedos and champagne cups and formals, and they're all watching this show right now on a big TV that they rented. So to the it was just a few weeks ago that he was at the Golden Globes, and he says, let's find Gene Hackman, because he knows we're old roommates. Come on, let's find Gene. Anyway, to the wonderful doctors and nurses and rehabilitation people, and to the families that I've met recently, and to my father, and to his new friends, here's looking at you. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, here's Day Weekend is the focus of our behind-the-scenes spotlight as we go on location with Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade. The movie reunites director Steven Spielberg, executive producer George Lucas, and Harrison Ford as America's favorite archaeologist and adventurer.
Why are you trying to kill us? Because you're looking for the Holy Grail. My father was looking for the Holy Grail. Did you kill him too?
What's fun about this is it's friends now making a movie together. Most of the people are back from the first and second film, and we're all family.
Action!
Among the returning characters are Indy's faithful friend Sala, played by John Rhys-Davies, and Professor Brody, played by Denholm Elliott.
Follow me! I know the way! Ah!
It sort of is a reunion for an adventure.
Joining the returning cast on this adventure is veteran actor Sean Connery.
You call this archaeology? Get out of there, Dad!
The real thing that sets this one off is the search for the father. And
it's sort of a search for the past, Indy's past, and his relationship with his father. So it's a new twist.
There are certain people who just click together. They become partners. And something clicked about the relationship and the compatibility between Harrison Ford and Sean Connery in their characters and their parts. They just play very well off each other.
Dad, you're gonna have to use the machine gun! Get it ready!
With Raiders of the Lost Ark, we set a pattern for what these movies were going to be. Action, adventure, comedy, and giant globe-trotting locations.
We're dealing with an archaeologist here, and therefore he's got to constantly be going to places where archaeological artifacts exist. And they exist all over the world in different points. And I think the exotic locales and backdrops enhance the movie enormously.
For Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade, the filmmakers traveled to Spain, Venice, Italy, Jordan, throughout the Southwest United States, and to the mammoth sound stages at Elstree Studios in London.
The floor's on fire. Another chair. Oh, all right.
In keeping with the tradition of the previous two films, Indy once again finds himself pitted against some formidable enemies.
Action.
Look. Elsa Schneider is an art historian.
How dare you kiss me?
A very strong-willed lady. She is, in my mind, quite similar to Harrison or to Indy. Whereas he goes out and gets what he wants, and she's the same.
Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade also introduces one other new character. He's an adventurous Boy Scout with an insatiable curiosity and a peculiar knack for getting into trouble. Played by River Phoenix, this new character adds a surprising twist to the latest adventure of Indiana Jones.
We made this a very distinctive kind of style that is very reminiscent of a certain kind of movie that was made in the 40s. You know, in those days they were serials and B movies, and you know, in this day it's a different kind of movie. It's an A movie.
We found a great character, Indiana Jones. He's a wonderful character, and people love him, and they want to see more of him in the same leather jacket and fedora hat. And so do I.
Day at the office.
Looks like a winner, but we'll find out next week's Hollywood Countdown.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the London Palladium for a royal gala in aid of the Prince's Trust. And you join us as their Royal Highnesses, the Prince and Princess of Wales, arrive. Prince Charles is greeted here by David Lingworth, the manager of the London Palladium, and by John Avery, general manager of Stolmoss Theatres. Their Royal Highnesses now move into the foyer, where they meet John Gardner, chairman of the Prince's Trust, which does so much for young people who might otherwise never achieve their full potential. And here's Peter Smith, chairman of fundraising for the Prince's Trust. And you'll immediately recognize our master of ceremonies for the evening, Sean Connery. There's very much a feeling of celebration in the air tonight as the Royal Gala forms part of the 21st birthday celebrations of London Weekend Television. And so, appropriately, the Prince and Princess are introduced to Brian Tesler, Chairman and Managing Director of London Weekend Television, and Greg Dyke, Deputy Managing Director and Director of Programs for LWT. On the left is Ted Turner, President of the American Turner Broadcasting Systems. He'll be transmitting tonight's show in America. And Mr. Turner is accompanied tonight by Miss George Rice. Here's Marcus Plantin, LWT's Controller of Entertainment. Trevor Hopkins on the right, the man who's brought everybody in the show together as producer of the gala. And Alistair McMillan, director of tonight's show for LWT. And now, the royal party, accompanied by Sean Connery, move into the theatre for a great evening of contemporary music and comedy here at the London Palladium for a royal gala in aid of the Prince's Trust. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome your host, Sean Connery.
Your Royal Highnesses, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to a royal gala in aid of the Prince's Trust. And in keeping with the spirit of the trust, tonight the emphasis is on youth. And we're all here to enjoy the best of contemporary comedy and music. Now, the most vital element of any country is its youth. And the aim of the Prince's Trust is to help disadvantaged youngsters to realize their full potential. Therefore, Your Highnesses, we thank you for gracing us this evening with your company. Our first star tonight is a young lady who certainly showed enterprise. When she entered a professional songwriting competition at the age of 12. And here, just 6 years later, she's one of the biggest, most successful recording artists in America. Miss Debbie Gibson.
Rosanna.
The mum and all the family. Every once in a while there arrives on the pop scene a group so multi-talented, so charismatic, so dynamic, so musically inventive that they change the face of pop forever. Well, let's hope we see one later tonight. Our next group have tried several names in their quest, their elusive quest for fame. Originally, they were the Three Wets. Then they became the fabulous Wet Brothers. Gary, Steve, Ivan, and Cliff. For a short while, they became the Norman McIntosh Novelty Accordion Band. A song, a squeeze, and a live anaconda. For a very short while, they were the Mormon Tabernacle Choir. But tonight, ladies and gentlemen, they're backstage at the moment. I mean, Frank Sinatra is at the stage door at this moment with his autograph book. It's that kind of evening. What do you do when someone like Frank Sinatra comes up for your autograph? I mean, I just wrote, "You're the greatest, live forever, Michael," you know. What can you do? He seemed happy, he was quite happy with that. Said, "Could I write to Frank?" at the top. Anyway, the next group tonight that we're going to pluck from fame and drop into obscurity is a group that's had phenomenal success wherever they've been. America, Europe, Great Britain, the little chemist shop on the corner, the TV rental shop, and the Watford Gap service station. Ladies and gentlemen, now the M1, then Jericho.
If you would like to know more about the Prince's Trust, please send a stamped addressed envelope to the Prince's Trust, 8 Bedford Row, London WC1R 4BA. That's the Prince's Trust, 8 Bedford Row, London WC1R 4BA.
We're approaching the end of the evening. You've been a great audience for a great cause, the Prince's Trust. And I know that you'd want to join with me in saluting the man whose enthusiasm, concern, and vision provides the springboard to success for so many fine young people. Ladies and gentlemen, His Royal Highness, the Prince of Wales.